Hello everyone, today we're going to go over the scroll view and the scroll bar at the same time. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, what is the scroll view? Well, the scroll view can be thought of as a panel that can be navigated using scroll bars. Which leads me on to my next question, what is a scroll bar? A scroll bar is basically a bar with a handle that can be dragged to navigate a panel, basically. So them two link very similarly, so I'm just going to merge them both into the same video and we'll just get straight to it. So in my hierarchy, I'm going to right click and under UI add in a scroll view. Now you'll see with this scroll view we get quite a little bit of information that's sort of come onto the screen here. We have a viewport, a scroll bar horizontal and a scroll bar vertical, so we can see two scroll bars have been added automatically. Now we're going to go through everything, don't worry everyone. Let's start with a breakdown. So under the scroll view we have the viewport. The viewport is an image that will contain the contents of the scroll view. As you can see, we can open the viewport even more and we get a content object here, which this is an empty game object that contains all the objects that are part of the scroll view. So for example, let me quickly add, just so you know what we're sort of dealing with here, let's add an image here and make it red. Okay, maybe make it a bit smaller. Now let's duplicate this, add another image and make this one green. Now let's duplicate it and add another image and make this one blue. Now let's duplicate it and make another. I'm just going to make a few just for examples. This one will be pink, and let's make another which we can make this one, let's say purple. Now, as you see, if we was to hit play, we can scroll through these, but there's a reason our bottom scroll bar's not come on, by the way, we're going to talk about that soon. But we can't go past the pink, and that's because the contents doesn't go, you can see our image 4, this is our purple, sorry, which is right at the bottom, but you see the contents is sort of split off here, where this bar going across is. So we need to go to our contents and bring it down. But by doing that, you're also stretching everything that's on here. So we've got to, it's a bit of a pain, but we've got to take all our images out, just drag them above the content, just so they're out of the contents. And then we're just going to drag the contents so it reaches the bottom of all the items. Now we can get all our items, drag them back into the contents. I'm going to move them back up again. Now for us to hit play, you'll see we can scroll through everything and our scroll bars automatically got smaller. So that's what you're dealing with a scroll bar. Let's now have a look at, I'm just going to quickly remove these, let's have a look at the actual scroll bar itself. So the horizontal scroll bar, this is the horizontal scroll bar. Under here we get a sliding area. This is an empty game object that sort of defines the area that the handle can slide across. And the handle is this thing here, it's just an image which is the handle. This is the image of the handle. We also get a vertical scroll bar, exact same, it's just vertical. Now before we look at the scroll view, I'm just going to quickly go over the scroll bar properties. So I'm going to skip all this top stuff because we've covered it all before. Let's go to handle rect. So the handle rect, this is the rect transform of the handle, which is under the sliding area. Very simple. Direction, so here it's bottom to top. We could have top to bottom. We could have left to right, right to left, which sort of glitch out because it's meant to be a vertical. So I'm just going to go from top to bottom. We get a value as well. Okay, now I've broken it. Let me just undo all of that. Okay, I've really broken it. Let me re-put in the scroll view. I don't know why that's happened. Scroll view. Here we go. So back to the vertical one, sorry. I'll just go over one at a time. You'll see, so we've got a value between 0 and 1. So this is where the slider's at to begin with. The size, this is the size of the handle. I wouldn't leave this on 1 because then it's just one massive handle. You don't really want that. Number of steps. No idea what this is, to be honest. I mean, put that to like 7 and see what happens. I've never actually played around with this. Oh, so number of steps is like basically how smooth it sort of drags. So if you want it to drag in steps, then you can. And then if you have that at 0, it's just a smooth, like continuous smooth thing. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't actually know that. I've never seen number of steps before. let's now move over to the actual scroll view. So under the scroll view we have a scroll rect. Let's look at each component here, or each property of the component. So content, this is the rect transform of the content object, which can be found under the viewport. Horizontal and vertical. Now these are two Boolean states which basically decide if the scroll view can be manipulated horizontally or vertically with the scroll bar. So if we was to disable vertical quickly, or let's go horizontal because I'm not going to go left and right. If we hit play, you'll see our horizontal bar disappears. If we disable vertical, our vertical bar stays, but I don't think it actually does anything. Let me have a look. So if I bring the game here, yeah, there we go. It doesn't actually work. Okay, let me just add an image in quickly, just so I can test this. I'll just add like a quick like pinky red image halfway down. Now because that's disabled, yeah, so the it basically disengages the horizontal or vertical bar, whatever one you want, from the viewport, so it does nothing. Okay, so if you don't want it to be manipulated vertically, you can disable it. If you don't want it to be manipulated horizontally, you can disable it. I'm going to disable the horizontal one because I just don't need it. Now under movement type you get three. You get unrestricted, elastic and clamped. Add an elasticity here for elastic. These are basically, and I also get inertia, sorry. Now these are physics related effects that you can give to the scroll bars that are a part of the scroll view to sort of customize how they interact with user inputs. So let's go for unrestricted quickly. I'm going to leave inertia for now. You'll see, oh yeah, okay, nothing. It's, you know, it's going up and down, great. If we go to elastic, maybe change the elasticity to 1, I don't know. If we scroll, like, because we can scroll with this actual scroll rect here, if I was to go up, you'll see it sort of like goes in and then bounces back out. There you go. It's a bit glitchy, but that'll do. And you can play around with the elasticity to talk about how quickly it goes in and out, which means with unrestricted, as you can see, if I do this, I can just go up, down, no problems. Clamped, this is basically where it's clamped, so we can move it like this, but if we move it here, it gets clamped to the sides. Inertia, this sort of allows you to play around with the deceleration rate and sort of how it bounces back and physics related stuff. I don't really play around with these because I've never really had to, but I recommend you sort of create your own scroll view, play around with some of these yourself, because you can't really get good values, you know. It's sort of, you have to manipulate it to how you want your scroll view to turn out. And so there's no sort of set values. I can be like, try this, try that. This is sort of something you have to play around with yourself, because you can do quite a lot with these 4 options here. So you just have to play around with yourself to figure out what works for your situation. The scroll sensitivity, this is how sensitive the scroll bars are to input. So if I made this like 5, you're going to see it's a lot more like if I use my mouse wheel. Yeah, so if I use my mouse wheel, if this is 1, it's going to scroll really slowly. If I put it to, 10, it's going to scroll a lot quicker with the mouse wheel. So it's just how like sensitive it is to the mouse wheel scrolling. The viewport, this is the rect transform of the viewport object. The horizontal scroll bar is the horizontal, the vertical is the vertical. Easy stuff. The visibility, this is basically what the scroll bar does if the option for, say, horizontal or vertical is disabled. So let's say our horizontal is disabled here. Let's put this as permanent. It's just gone. Okay, if we enable it, it's back on. If we disable it, it's gone. Auto hide. If we was to hit play, it will automatically hide. There we go. And auto hide and expand viewport. This will, I believe, our viewport here will stretch down when it hides. So as you can see at the minute here, it stops like here, our viewport on this green line. It's very faint. I don't know if you can see it very well. But when we play and this button disappears, the viewport will come down to here. And we can actually test this if we put these scenes side by side. Look at our green line when I hit play. Oh, sorry, there it is. And the viewport's gone all the way down to the bottom. So that just automatically adjusts the viewport when you hit play if it's disabled. And the spacing is it's basically the spacing from the edge of the viewport, horizontally and vertically, respective to the horizontal scroll bar and vertical scroll bar. I don't play around with these too much because, unless you're using your own images for the scroll bars, it's set at a pretty good spacing automatically. If you're using your own scroll bar images and handle images, you may want to change this. Once again, no good value. Unless it's the default, -3 does do it pretty well. But if you're using your own, there's no good value, it's just whatever works for you. On value changed, this is where you can add script. We've sort of covered things like this. You hit the add button. You can add quite a few actually, but yeah, you can hit the add button and have a script or an object or something, script called and ran whenever the scroll bars are used. That's basically it for the scroll view. I know this is quite vague, but I just wanted to cover the basics of it, because things like the movement type and inertia, that's where it gets a bit more confusing. It's where you sort of have to tailor it to how you like it. You can't have, it's not like an on-off value or like something where you drag something in. You sort of like this custom value, so you have to play around with until you get something you like. But hopefully with a bit of a play around, you can get a bit more familiar now with the scroll view. I do recommend maybe having like 5-10 minutes just sort of playing around with these scroll views, just seeing what sort of stuff you can come up with. Just to get used to it basically, because they're not the easiest things. They do take a little while to get familiar with properly, and you don't tend to use them as often as other UI elements, but they are very useful when you do have to use them. So I hope you found this video helpful, everyone. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. In the next video, we're going to cover buttons. Now, that will be a good one. They're quite simple. They are quite easy to understand. So it shouldn't be a long video, but I'm going to cover some example script again, like the past couple of videos I have, just where we can sort of go over how we can do stuff with the button. So when the button's clicked, how we can like assign code to that. So yeah, we're going to talk to the button. We're coming towards the end of the series now, so after the next video, all we've got left after the button is all we've got left after the next video about the button is the drop down in the input field, and then we'll be done. So I hope you found this video helpful, everyone. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.